provide rewards to customers, and how we're going to do that is we're going to partner with restaurants like Burger Up, and they would provide the rewards and also pay a monthly fee, and in return we would build this customer database of customers who we know are in their area, and we know their trends, they're going to places in that area, and they can use that to fill seats on an empty night or just continue to drive customers into their restaurants. So as you can see, the customers supply restaurant reviews and receive the reviews of other diners, rewards, and just the final link is simply that between the customers and the restaurants. The restaurants with this information are able to continue to improve, continue to impress and delight their customers, and the customers, the lifeline. They continue to supply business to the restaurants. So now I'm going to hand it off to Mikey for market sizing and some competitive analysis.
Yeah, so like Ryan was saying, we're kind of based, for our TAM and our SAM, it's really based off a monthly scale, since we were talking about the monthly subscription for restaurants. So for our TAM, it's around $3.5 million, and that's with one assumption of the restaurants in America. And for our SAM, it's based off of restaurants in the greater Chicagoland area. And then we didn't put our market share in there, but we're looking at 15% conversion rate from getting the restaurants around here, because we believe with their marketing strategies that James and Kim will go over, we believe we can get 15% of the restaurants. And for competitive analysis, we made this chart, so I'm just going to go through this. So to your left, you see recent wait times, rewards, and customer database. That is what we want to encompass in our company. And Yelp, which we want to see if they have it, and they, for recent reviews, they are inconsistent actually, because they're such a big company and they cover the whole nation. They don't get as many recent reviews just because they're so big and it's hard to cover so many restaurants. And then for rewards, yes, they do offer rewards such for the reviewers, but it's only for the most prestigious, and it is for, it's parties, it's not so often, so we were thinking it different. And then Google reviews does not have fit in any of our criteria. No Way only fits in wait time on the review site, but we want to bring them in because it's like an indirect competitor. And TripAdvisor, as well as Google, does not fit our criteria. And Tastebuds, that is us, does obviously fit. Next slide, please. And you guys may be wondering where, probably the biggest company we're missing out here was on that chart was definitely OpenTable. And that's definitely the one that's most similar to us because of what they have and what we want to do. And honestly, the biggest difference between us and them is, yes, they do have a customer database that they capture, but they do not use it to the extent that we want to use it to. Like, they don't supply the common analytics to the restaurants, their slowest day, and they don't really help the restaurant out as much as we want to help the restaurant out. And now to Ellie.
Yeah, so I'd like to go through our 5-year financial forecast, but first, the most important question is, how are we making money? We plan to charge the restaurants a monthly subscription of $29.99, and from that, they'll get the database that Ryan and Mikey had described, which would get them the analytics of all their customers and clients. And so with that, in our first year, we plan to partner with restaurants in Barrington, having our revenue be a little over $40,000 with our net income of over $25,000. And then in the second year, we plan to expand to communities around the Barrington area, such as Lake Zurich, Cary, Fox River Grove. And that, our revenue then would be over $163,000 with a net income of over $106,000. And then in the third year and beyond, we are planning to move into Chicago and the Chicagoland area. And with that, in the third year, we'll be making over $300,000 with a net income of over $200,000. And in the fourth and fifth year, we want to continue to expand and grow our business, therefore making over $479,000 in the fourth year with a net income of over $322,000. And then in the fifth year, after continuing to grow and expand, we plan on making over $671,000 with a net income of over $449,000. Now, of course, with making money comes the costs. And since we are an application, we don't have any cost of goods sold because that does not apply to us. But we do, however, have SG&A, and in our first year, the SG&A would be a little over $13,000, and that would get us lots of marketing as well as app maintenance and a developer. And then in the second year and beyond, we will add things such as office rent once we continue to grow, and legal fees and insurance, and many things like that. Now, the correlation between our expenses and our revenue is that as our business continues to grow and expand, so do our expenses, because We will need to use those to better our company and continue to improve. Now to Kayvon with our minimum viable product.
The MVP, minimum viable product, is a process where a company can test their services and products and receive feedback almost instantaneously. In order for us to test our service, we need beta testers from our customer segment. Beta testers are people willing to test a company's service and get back to them with feedback. The first step in our entire process after getting beta testers would be to determine where they'd like to go for dinner. Knowing this beforehand, we can commence step number 2 in our process, going to the restaurant and gathering all the information that we can. One of the ways that we can do this would be to talk to customers leaving the restaurant and ask them general questions, like how was your meal, how was the service of the staff, atmosphere, etc. Our third step would be to get back to our beta testers and give them all the information that we learned. Our fourth step would be after they're done with dinner, we would have them respond back to us with a thorough evaluation on the restaurant as to whether they liked it or not. To conclude, we would provide them with a coupon or a voucher to a restaurant, thanking them for their comments. This is known as a concierge service because we are providing the service that our app would provide to them. Because our customer segment is families with younger kids, we'd have to go places that pertain to children to get our beta testers. Some of these places that we could go would be anywhere local, like the mathnasium, karate dojo, kids section at the library, anywhere that we can talk to the parents and in order to engage them in the beta testing program. We plan on starting this process very soon and on the weekends when restaurants are at their busiest peaks and when people are going out to dinner. In order to measure our success, we have to determine how many of our beta testers found us helpful in a way. Now to the second part of our MVP, James Hartley.
Alright, so the second part of our MVP is a landing page. Now, people can go to the landing page to just get general information on the restaurant, and then there will also be the Get the App Now button. Now, the goal for our Get the App Now button is to measure how many people would really want to get, they would like to have the app now. Our goal for that is to get 10,000 clicks. Oh, wait. Now, how are we going to get the 10,000 clicks? First off, we're going to send email blasts to everyone in our customer segment, and it's also simply just going to spread by word of mouth. We'll also use flyers, posts where we think our customer segment will be, so restaurants, library, that kind of thing. Now our timeline for this is we're going to get started as soon as we can and go through May 15th, and the concierge service will random Saturdays throughout that time. And now that you know about our company, we are asking for $630. Now to break that down, we would want $40 for the WHIP subscription, which would help us develop the landing page, $90 for a GoDaddy subscription, which will let us get the domain name, and then $105 gift cards, which would be for the beta testers. Thank you for your time, and we hope you see the full potential in our business.
So have you talked to restaurants about the service, and if so, how many, and what did they tell you?
So we recently had an interview with Mago. It was the Mexican restaurant in the Arboretum, and we talked to a manager there, and they use OpenTable as it turns out. So our main focus became kind of trying to see if there was, she as a manager saw value in our how we differentiate ourselves from OpenTable, and it was difficult because the manager we interviewed didn't happen to be fully involved with a lot of their interaction with OpenTable, but she definitely said, based on what she said, we learned that we think that the value that we offer in using that customer database to really reach out to customers and drive more business in is really what can differentiate us from OpenTable. And then we actually have an interview today with McGonagall's, manager of McGonagall's after school today.
How are you going to get honest reviews and integrity to the reviews? Because that's what people are looking for. Versus when you incentivize somebody to write a review, that's a big issue in the whole review industry.
Yeah, we have.
How are you going to tackle that?
Someone else.
Well, we were thinking we were going to do sort of a like and dislike system. And so say it's the same, another customer went to that same restaurant but they had a horrible experience, and the person said they had a great one, the customer would dislike that, therefore making the credibility of that not as credible, and we would see that, and that would deduct points or from the point system in order to get rewards, or they would just entirely not get any rewards for that because they were
So the
dishonest.
first reviewer gets dinged if the second reviewer gives it a bad?
If
I
somebody
didn't follow
contradicts the service, and there are many people that contradict the service, or something like that, that proves to us that they're not telling the truth, or didn't even go to that restaurant, then we would see that and fight through that.
Yeah. As well as that, we're also going to try and hire people eventually. Like what happened to Yelp over the last few months, they had a big scandal because most of the reviews actually weren't legitimate. So right now, what we believe, which I read, is that they hired people to actually read through the quality of the reviews and make sure, because most of the actually like low stars and the high stars are actually usually fake. So we're looking to hire people and make sure those reviews actually make sense.
Can you help me understand the $29.99 cost as you know open tables free and what the restaurateur pays for that? How did you validate that? What makes you think a client, me, would pay $29 for this service?
You were the restaurant.
Oh, excuse me, you're right.
The restaurant.
$29.
Yeah,
Per
we've,
month.
well, I know we even had this conversation a little bit with
Yeah.
you about pricing, and
Yeah.
we know that Open Tables pricing model is based off, they charge restaurants based on the amount of tables they fill. And we have looked into that, we played around with it on the financial model, and we are still trying to figure out our pricing model, to be honest, because we realize that approaching restaurants with a monthly subscription it's not always viable, because restaurant managers, that's a business where they're not always, ready to just, add extra costs without a guarantee of legitimate service. But we just haven't been able to figure out a pricing model other than a monthly subscription that gives us the revenue that we need to continue to grow. So,
Sorry, we finished?
no, yeah.
And in addition to that, we have valued our company as that we will be bringing in the restaurant more customers for them, and that would be making them more than $30, which is basically what our fee is. And we do that by the database that they get that they don't have before that. So in addition to bringing in more customers, they would get the database and see the real-time reviews. For example, like if they change their menu, they could see if customers like that quickly, which they don't have the capability of doing that now. So we also just bring in more customers, overall like making them more money.
Yeah, like she was saying, for restaurants to really make this worth it, they have to use the customer database to their advantage. So that $30 may sound expensive now, but when it's a really slow Monday night and they release a new menu that Friday, they're gonna call or they're gonna email their best customers in to come try out the menu so they can get their honest reviews, because they know they're gonna come back anyways because they love the restaurant. So it's really helping the restaurant out, even though it's $30, because they're getting so much out of it and they're getting so many more customers on slow nights.
Can you go back to the first chart you had with all the arrows?
Yeah.
I'd like you to contemplate one pivot on this business model. I think it's really, really difficult for you guys to go against TripAdvisor, Yelp.
Wait, that one or the?
Open Table. This is really hard to get to compete in this world, because on my app I have Zagat, Open Table, TripAdvisor, and to get you guys on there, the review business is already kind of launched, and it takes really a lot of money to get users to rely on it. Okay. The other part about it is kind of the reward system is a little weird, but that customer improvement, just this arrow about customer improvement is really important. So I would think if I'm a restaurant, I would pay you $29 a month to occasionally come into my restaurant and critique me and shop me. It's called a shopper. And you go in and they train you on everything that you should be looking for, and you're a blind, you're a secret shopper.
Mystery diner.
Mystery diner. And that would be a great name for the company.
There's a show called Mystery Diner.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why.
sorry.
It validates your point.
You know your market well.
Yeah.
But if you go in and then give them a boatload of information about what the experience was, and even a score, and they can put on their door, you know, a mystery diner score as a further validation. It's not about what the customers are saying, it's, hey, we get a mystery diner score of X, and you were an independent rating agency that, you know, they would pay for your meal, because at the end you could tell them that I'm a mystery diner or whatever, or you just charge them back at cost, whatever. But I think companies would pay, restaurants would pay for that. And then they can drive a lot of improvement. But think.
An owner of a small restaurant would love to know how their staff is really doing and how the food is really coming out of the kitchen, the cleanliness and the, you know, and the view, yeah. If you had a large, I love the idea actually. If you had a large pool of people that could go in and do this sort of spot checking.
The money you would need to go against Open Table, I mean, you said $13,000 of SG&A cost your first year,
Yes.
and you were including a developer.
Right.
You need to go back and rethink about what developer you would hire for that amount of money. Software packages like this are, you know, a prototype of the app would be $250,000.
Right, that's, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's actually in our startup costs, but that
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah, that wasn't included.
So then this is the maintenance of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But then your selling cost, you had zero, and Open Table actually had a direct sales force that went out door to door, so you had zero.
I think that was
Right,
year
so
one.
The first year would be
Yeah.
us, right, that was the year one,
I didn't
graph.
see the SG&A going for it, so I couldn't see that. That's okay, I remember the
Okay.
slide.
Okay.
Did I bring up restaurant.com to you before?
I don't think so.
If I haven't and you don't pivot like Michael's suggesting, I would tell you to look over there. They have a whole business on buying what they call gift certificates, but are really coupons that the restaurant gives to them.
Okay.
So you have a way to fund people to come in. So they give you $25 and you spend $50, and that could help get people in the door for you, restaurant.com.
And the other thing that restaurants do care about is their reputation and what those reviews say, and they want them to be authentic, and they want them to be. So in addition to you doing kind of mystery shopping, you could have a service that went in and reached out to people that gave a negative review and try to win them back.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a service to say, hey, you know what, you had a bad experience here. I saw it on Yelp. My job is to make you happy.
The other option is considering that you target youth and you know that your mystery shopping is targeted towards under 25 or 30, because you may have a different clientele with us when we're going out to dinner, and even that makes you more niche and
Last
niche.
comment. How many interviews, problem interviews and solution interviews did you guys do?
Well, we did a lot. Well, in first semester, we were focused on problem interviews with customers and consumers. I think we did.
Over 50?
We did it. I don't remember the exact number right now, but we focused mostly on problem interviews with customers and like people in our area, and then Mago and then Megano was our only two.
Yeah, see, you gotta get out to the restaurants.
Yeah, we're
You're
trying-
charging the restaurants.
Yeah, we're trying to get out
You're
to the
solving their
restaurants.
problems.
Right, the problem, we email and then don't get
Call.
responses, so
Yeah.
we keep
So
trying
we're-
to give me one or
Okay.
asking them.
Stay up there. Stay up there.
Okay.
We talk about it. The MVP is difficult here. Do you have an MVP, put your
I
MVP
would-
slide back up?
Yeah, I wouldn't spend money on domain name or any of that stuff on the website until they get the sorted out.
It takes place maybe not.
I think they need the money to go on and really
Is it not?
read the concept and survey. I mean, it's a machine, it's really a service for restaurants. And it's got a lot
I mean, it was an idea. They got-
He must
they got
have
absorbed
unplugged
it.
it.
They wanted to-
I don't know.
You know, so if they were,
But the barrier to entry, there, you misunderstand, the barrier to entry against Yelp, Open Table, and others is very large. They've got a lot of infrastructure, I don't know if that's right.
It's okay.
you guys, how do you feel about pivoting on this? We're very, we like that you did a really good job. You thoroughly thought through some things. I mean, there's some misses in there that we tried to give you. But it's a really hard barrier to break through some of these other reviews. And we want you to pivot. And then if you pivot, it changes your entire MVP. That's how you would go about doing that. But we don't want to pivot because we heard the concept of in 120 seconds, we tell you we want you to pivot. We want you to probably think about this. Spend a little bit of time going through and saying, gosh, we have some problems that we can really solve with this. And what would that look like? And go do some problem interviews with restaurants and float some ideas and float some concepts with them. And then come back and ask us for an MVP and how to launch it.
Yeah.
If it don't, just because Michael gave you an idea, don't just narrow in on that. Because he's pointing you in a direction that could be really credible. Bring your own life to that. Maybe that idea, but don't come back and say it has to.
Yeah.
I definitely did personally like some of the ideas, and I think we could sort of incorporate sort of some of what we're doing with what you had suggested. I like
Who's your mentor?
Monty Bauer.
Okay, great. You know, if you guys want to get together with any one of the board members and Monty and talk about this, I'm sure we'd be happy.
All right, we're gonna move here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That hurt a lot.